What's up, Fish Tank people? FishtankTV.com. Dustin's Fish Tanks bringing it to you with a small tank series. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. So we're digging back into the small tank series. If you're just joining us, make sure you click the links around here and check out the 5-gallon we set up first. The I Got 5 gallon. We talk about how that tank is actually too small, doesn't give you enough room to screw up, and unless 5 gallons is a good place to start a small tank series, right? Then we move on from there into the 10-gallon, the Lion King tank. Note the betta fish, like most betta fish, comes on cue in front of the camera. Absolutely loving it. He's in there hanging out with Scar, Mufasa, and all those around Pride Rocks. How this tank got its name. Absolutely loving it. Going above the rim with this tank. Got the Easy Java Moss, Bulbitis, Anubias, Anacharis, all that fun stuff. Click the links around. Check out that video. We took a little bit of a hiatus from there because we tried to get a 15-gallon, but the 15-gallon is apparently extinct. I couldn't find one at Myers, Walmart, Petco, Deathco, whatever, and couldn't find one, so we took a break from there. Then we took a little bit of a hiatus and got into the ShamWow. You're going to be saying wow when you see what Dustin and Tank Wow can do for your tank. That's right, that pink gravel's pissing your wife off. It's pissing your life off. Stop having a boring tank. We're going to tank wow your tank. We're going to tank wow your life. Appreciate all the love on that video. I spent a good bit of time on it. I absolutely had a riot making it, even though it's not your standard Dustin Fish Tank video, so thank you for the love on that. But now you're all in big trouble because today we're returning to the small tank series and we're setting up a 20-gallon. Oh, yeah! The 20-gallon. So today we're going to be bringing you the small tank series, talking about the 20-gallon long, folks. We're going to talk about the pros, we're going to talk about the cons, and we're going to actually put some plants in this bad boy. Note I actually did half aquascape this thing for the ShamWow video. Click links around and check it out. But I decided to slow it all down and do it all over for you because I feel that 20-gallon long deserves a special video in and of itself in full detail. So you're going to get that today out of your boy D. But first, let me get sentimental. Let me wax poetic with you when I tell you about this tank. Back in the day, bringing you back to Findlay, Ohio, back in the day when I was probably 14 years old, I had a 20-gallon long set up in my dad's house, in between two sinks in my bathroom. That's right. And in that bathroom tank, I had a golden dojo loach that jumped out and actually went down the drain. And I had not one, but two snakeheads before they were illegal. Snakeheads are nasty fish. So yeah, so I've got a lot of love for the 20-gallon aquarium for sure. The 20-gallon long, let's break it down for y'all, okay? Here's what we're going to do. The 20-gallon long, why do they call it a 20-gallon long? Well, first and foremost, they call it a 20-gallon long because it's long. It's 30 inches long, it's 12 inches tall, and it's 12 inches front to back, okay? So 30-inch long. What do we like about that? First and foremost, we like the gas exchange, all right? We like the gas exchange because with a 30-inch long tank, we have plenty of surface area on top. I hate to mix like numbers and ratios in with aquariums and nature, but we're going to do it anyway. What we're doing with this is this. I like to run my aquariums where they're twice as wide as they are tall. So like a 2-foot tank would only want to be 1 foot tall. Well, guess what? We got a 2.5-foot long tank here with the 20 long that's a foot tall. So we're loving that. We got 2.5 times. So we're golden. We got good gas exchange. We're going to talk about the 20 high in just a second here, but that's one of the great things. The other great thing about the 20 long for y'all is we got the 30-inch viewing area. 30 inches of pure viewing goodness, all right? Great viewing area, good gas exchange. We're loving it. The 20 long is one of those tanks when the beginners get rolling, they just get moving, they love it. Let's talk about one of my favorite things with the 20-gallon long. Let's talk about lighting. Oh yeah, the 20 long, unlike the 20 high, the 20 long, you can light the bejesus. I said bejesus out of a 20-gallon long. Why? Something called the inverse squared law. Basically, for every unit of measure you move away from the light source, you exponentially lose light. In English, the shorter tanks are easier to light. Got it? So a shorter tank is easier to light. You take this, it's not meant to be a sex joke, but the 20 tall is actually 4 inches taller. That 4 inches makes a big difference if you know what I'm talking about. So the 20 tall, the 20H, if you will, that 4 inches is not the same lighting. Like you cannot use the same light strip. You could use the same light strip on a 20 high as a 20 long, but it will not do you as much good. So the 20 long, you can light the heck out of it. You can do a lot more with it. All right, so with the 20 long here, this was actually already dirted during the ShamWow video. You can click the links around and watch that ShamWow video, or you can watch a bunch of other videos I've done showing how to dirt an aquarium. This is the first tank that I've dirted in the small tank series. Now all right, folks, so now it's time for the fun part. It's time to talk about the plants that are going in this bad boy, and I'm excited about it because we want to play to the strengths of this aquarium. I've already talked about it. We've got good substrate. You can click the links around here, check out videos where I talk about dirting a tank. You can see we got good substrate, and we've got good lighting, not just because it's my own line of LEDs, but because any short tank is just fundamentally easier to light, as I've talked about, okay? So we've got good substrate, we've got good lighting. This takes me right into foreground plants. This takes me right into the question that everybody asks me all the time. Hey Dustin, I want to get a foreground plant. I want to have a carpet in my aquarium. How do I get a carpet to grow in my aquarium? Well, guess what? With a short aquarium, you have lots more options to grow a carpet. I want you guys to think about a hot chick for a minute, the hottest chick I know. I want to talk about Mother Nature. Mother Nature, baby, that's right. Mother knows best. Listen to your mother. When you go outside and you go in a stream, what do you see? You see a stream, it's shallow water. Where are most of the plants? Most of the plants are actually above the edge of the pond or the stream or whatever. The reason they're there is because that's where the most light penetrates. That's where it's dirt, good substrate, good dirt. Then they grow in shallow water where the light, good old Mr. Sun, can penetrate the most. So we're going to talk about some foreground plants. All right, so now it's time to break down some options of some foreground plants for you. Why not roll with 4 foreground plants to show you what I'm thinking in this little 20 long that I'm having a good time with. All right, first and foremost is the wonderful Dwarf Sagittaria subulata. Those of you watching this live on Instagram, check it out. There you go, Dwarf Sagittaria subulata. You can click the links around here. This is actually the very first Species Sunday your boy D ever did, was on Dwarf Sag. Click the links, check out D while Nola was sleeping. Species Sunday, #1 species right here. Dwarf Sagittaria, I sell in all of my best-selling beginner combos for a reason. Dwarf Sag, super easy, love it, great, easy beginner plant. And yeah, I could grass the whole thing right in the front here. However, your boy D's evolved a little bit these days. Now we got a microphone checker. Now we're moving on to one species that's a little bit of a grassy plant that I'm really loving these days, and I'm kind of new with. It's called Anacharis tenalis. Yeah, can I get some Anacharis tenalis for you all? Look at that, Anacharis tenalis. Having a great time with Anacharis tenalis. Now this is a slightly finer one. Now what happened with this plant right here is I actually got it in on a big import, and then what I do is I let it grow underwater. It takes a beating, just like most plants. It takes like a couple weeks to get in its groove, but now it's getting its groove back, and I've never actually played with it too much. I got a little bit of it going on in the B26. You can click the links around and check out that video. But the Anacharis tenalis is an option. I've got another one for you. I want to talk about baby tears. Why do they call it baby tears? Because you're going to leave your baby upstairs crying in tears because you're going to be having so much fun playing with baby tears in your aquarium. You're going to leave your kid upstairs crying. That's not really why they call it that, but I love me some baby tears. You can check out the baby tears I've got growing in here. It's a great idea. However, with the substrate I have in this aquarium right here, it's a little bit too large, so we're not going to roll with baby tears in here, but I got one more for you. This is Grandmaster Tom Barr's tank. You can see him running these Staragini rippins. Yeah, Staragini rippins would be a cool one in here. It's a rough, rugged plant. Takes a little bit of time to get going, but I did find a little bit of Staragini rippins out in the greenhouse. You can check that out right there. A little Staro in the mix for you all. So that's a good time right there. Staragini rippins will be a fun one. I could do a little, but I don't have a whole lot of it. So I wanted to break down 4 foreground plants. Let's move into the middle ground for the 21. All right, so we are moving from the foreground options. We got 4 foreground options. Now we're going to roll into some of the mid-ground options. We're going to have some plants that we are definitely in the mix and some that are definitely out of the mix. So I'm going to break those down for you. Let's roll with the assumption, though, based on the foreground plants, that we're going to run with some of the Anacharis tenalis, some of the little grassier stuff in the front. So let's just say we're going to roll with that. We're going to roll with the Anacharis tenalis. So we've got the Anacharis tenalis or dwarf sag, whatever. We got a grassy foreground growing in here. Stick with me, folks. We got the grassy foreground right in the front there. We're going to roll with that. Now we want to give it some contrast. Now what I like to do with the contrast is something different. So you want grassy in the foreground. You want to do something mixing it up on the side. So I got this. This is a wonderful little crypt. I think it's a ponderfolia or whatever. This is a fun little crypt right here. Y'all can check it out. It's got the big round leaves. These actually came in and we grew them underwater for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, and now they got the new growth. So they're good to go. This will give you a nice round contrast at the end, but it's not quite enough color. I'd like to mix the color up a little bit more. So we're going to switch it out. We're going to roll to some Hygrophila Parawatota right here. Parawatota. Now this stuff came in, lost a bunch of its leaves. It's actually a pretty rugged Hygrophila Parawatota or whatever, but then it's actually gotten new underwater growth coming, so it took this plant a minute, but I could see this as a nice contrast too because it's got the bushier like you know, variegated leaves or whatever. So like the Power with Tota, that's a good option as well. One of the plants that's out, speaking of hygrophillas, that's out, unless you're a super beginner and you just want something that makes your self-esteem feel better, I highly recommend you guys, if you're a beginner trying it out, this is Hygrophila deformis. This is only 3 stems. I sell 6 in a bunch, but you can see how big it gets. Hygrophila deformis, aka water wisteria. Super easy to keep, like grows like a weed. It will actually get too big if you had it in here, so like this wisteria would get too big and bushy and kind of outgrow everything. But if you're just starting out and you want some morale boost, some self-esteem, by all means roll with some water wisteria. However, I gotta tell you, if I'm doing the grassy front, I want to roll with something fun. I want to roll with this wonderful, another hygrophila. This is Hygrophila cordata red, and this is about it. I can't believe I was living without it plant, because this plant is baller, shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala. How much more can I rap about this plant? Like bright reddish stem. You can check out, it gets a red stem underneath, highlight. What do we have in this tank? We have highlight. We have highlight because it's got a bright light on. I'll actually get in the tank for you here for a change. We'll get up in the tank. Dusty will take his mic and go like this. You're going to be saying, wow, when you see what Hygrophila cordata red does in this tank right here. So yeah, I'm thrilled to have this plant running in here. Definitely going to do some of this plant in the back. I'm going to hack it way down. Even though it's got roots, I'm going to hack it way down and shove it in there. But this plant under highlight's going to just pop. So super pumped about that. We've talked about the Midground. I do have one more Midground plant that's a possibility here. We're going to bring into the mix. It's a classic. It's also included in all my beginner planted combos for a reason. We've got the good old Anubias right here. The Anubias right here is, I mean, look, it doesn't really play to the strengths of this tank. It doesn't care because it's Anubias, right? So you can like tie it to a rock, tie it to a piece of driftwood, whatever. It doesn't care about the good substrate. It likes more light, so it'll handle that. But really, it's just a nice contrast because you've got the Anubias with the big round leaves in contrast to the Conodorus tenalis. So that's one of the options that I'm thinking about with this plant, or with this tank as well. Anubias. Let's move from the midground. Let's talk about the background. All right, so we've talked about the midground of this aquarium and some of the options for that. Now I want to break down 5 species of plant that I'll potentially use, maybe one, maybe all of them, in the background of this. We're going background, baby, back on it. Baby got back. First, I already talked about the Hygrophila cordata red. This is definitely a runner, going to be in the background here. I might trim it small and see how it goes, but that's in there. I already talked about that plant. I want to move into one that's a really fun one for me. This is Ustrellus stellata right here. This is a fun one here. You can click the links and check out this plant. I love this plant, the way it's growing in the greenhouse. Totally a great like star kind of look in the back. I think would be a lot of fun. I've also got this pennywort right here. This is a fun one. This will give me a nice contrast too. The pennywort would be a good one because the pennywort has like the rounder leaves or whatever. Definitely a fun one. Easy, I mean, super easy beginner plant. Like anytime you see a plant that has the little roots, that have the little roots off the like leaflets or whatever, it's probably going to be a good thing. Laguigia does that as well. So anytime you see that, know it's probably going to be a good plant. This plant actually can grow up out of the water too, which is kind of fun. I want to talk about one of the plants that's actually out for this right here. I want to talk about jungle val. Now look, if something were to happen to me on a ski slope or in some sort of a freak accident, I would hope that one of you fish tank people would remember to bring some jungle val. I will thank you while I'm dead in the coffin for letting me take this with me to afterlife. Tall and skinny just like me, tall and skinny just like D. Problem is it's going to grow too tall in here, and it's actually going to shade out some of the light in the back. So jungle val is actually out for this 20, although I do really enjoy it. Now, if you're just a beginner and you need some self-esteem, you need to get things rolling, I mean, look, this is a beginner combo plant of mine, like jungle val all day long. Just know that once you get going, it's going to slowly overtake your tank. It's like that first level plant for you, if you will. But for this tank, I'm not going to use jungle val, but I did want to give it a shout out because it's definitely an awesome plant. It's like my second species Sunday ever. You can click the links around and check that out. I also want to talk about this wonderful red plant right here. Now, this is a new one for me, but we want to play to the strengths. So we've got some Amania gracialis right here. This is Amania gracialis, super fun, reddish plant. This is actually a little ratty species, but I'm going to get it under some good light. It's going to do just fine. This plant right here, totally loving it. Likes higher calcium content and a little bit more iron in the water, but what's going to be great is it's going to be underneath some bright red light, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll get that rolling, and it'll get a nice bright red at the surface and give us a nice contrast. That in conjunction with the contrast we can get from some of the pennywort, that will be a good little mix for us. So we got those two right there. And then last, but certainly not least, you're running a dirty tank or you're running a tank with good substrate, you got to roll with an Amazon sword. This is an Anacharis pointy or whatever, like, I don't know, the pointy variety has got the longer, pointier leaves than your standard Amazon sort. It's a little narrower. So this one takes actually a little bit longer to grow. Josh has been doing a nice job of growing these out in the greenhouse. And this plant right here, heavy root feeder, likes good light, will grow like bonkers for you in the background of this 20 long right here. And those are 10 species I'm thinking about putting in the wonderful 20 long behind me. Do me a favor, folks. Drop me a comment on what you think I should put in the 20 long behind here. Giving you 10 types of plants. I'm creatively stuck with the hardscape. I'm thinking about doing some trees or whatever. Drop me a comment on what you think I should put in the bottom of this 20 long. Let me know some ideas on a hardscape. Click the links around here for more videos on both these plants and the small tank series. Hit the subscribe button and tank on. Later.